Sean's Vision Studios.
Envision, and I'm going to, this particular Director Shadow program is a little bit different than the commercial branding. It's for social impact, and we saw a need for that out there in our community. And we were introduced to Envision, and we saw what they do and absolutely love their mission. And so I'm going to turn this over to Dr. Tariana Little, who is the CEO of Envision. And she's going to tell you about the new Director Shadow program that we have. And one of our members just completed that. So please welcome Dr. Tariana Little.
Thank you, Sharon. Welcome, everyone. I am thrilled to be here with y'all to talk about the Director Shadowing program in partnership with WIFNI and Clark Live Productions. And this was an experience to be able to work with WIFNI members, to choose one fellow that can work with us over 6 months and from start to finish be a part of a project, and also because of Envision being a boutique media agency focusing on social impact for visionary organizations, be able to see how to have a mission-driven business and how to succeed as a creative. So this experience was not only about being in production with us and understanding how things happen in the background and maybe learn our strategies and support each other, but also to think about, if you're thinking about starting a company or being a creative and you want to make a career out of that with your own production agency, what might it look like? And as I said, Envision, we are an award-winning media agency focusing on social impact storytelling. We work with visionary organizations that are doing amazing work, whether it's a foundation, a government agency, a chamber of commerce, or a nonprofit that are changing the world, and we help them to use storytelling. We're a small shop, but we have a big impact. And you're going to see one of our recent stories that was produced as a result of the collaboration with the Director Shadowing Fellow. And so she was able to join us on production and be able to support with some filming, as well as gain more experience and learn how we approach filmmaking. So I hope that you enjoy it, and happy to address any questions after.
A thriving community at its foundation starts with feeling valued and a sense of belonging. The mission of the Chamber is to build equitable economic development and help provide opportunities for LGBTQ and allied businesses to make their business thrive. Our small businesses pay a yearly membership fee, and that's it. They don't pay any extra finances for any of the programs or services we provide.
I'm a therapist, and I'm great at being a therapist, but how do you go about having a group practice with multiple employees? Club for Resilience is an outpatient mental health group practice that focuses on the LGBT, BIPOC, immigrants, and first-generation communities. I was connected with the Massachusetts LGBT Chamber of Commerce, and I met Angie, and she put in front of me a bunch of resources to help me be successful. Thanks to the Chamber, we went from an idea, and now we're this growing business.
We are unique in the fact that we are statewide. We have the ability to be from Pittsfield to P-Town, from Springfield to Salem, and build an ecosystem of partnerships and resources in order to move economic development forward.
By supporting these businesses, we create the opportunity for them to make the contributions they were intended to make. All of us benefit by those contributions. It's not instead of, it's in addition to.
RevMe is a consulting firm for small businesses across strategy, marketing, finance, and other areas. I'm not only a member of the Chamber, but also a coach where I can help other members. And to be part of a community where you're supporting each other, maybe you're even doing business with each other, that's amazing.
Employees want their companies to be authentic. They want them to do and to say what they mean, and they want them to be consistent in that approach.
Our corporate members get so much value out of the Chamber. We host job fairs every year. We work with their employees on building internal systems of support. And we also provide opportunities and access to our small businesses who are also looking for those connections, so our corporate partners are directly impacting in their growth.
The Chamber is not just supporting commerce and business, but it's supporting the owners behind it, the employees, and everyone else involved in these organizations.
To know that the Chamber exists, that people are committed to your growth, it makes all the difference. It feels like you have companionship in this very challenging journey.
The stronger our community and connections are right now, the more opportunity we're going to have for resiliency and economic growth.
Are there any questions, comments?
Okay, so like I said, one of our members participated in this with Envision, and if you're interested in participating in any of the Director Shadow programs, number one, you do have to be a WIFNI member. Okay, so membership is available on our website. And then when we put these out periodically, we're going to be creating a new one with Envision. The element one is a continuous one, but what we do ask is that you have some experience with onset, okay? If you're brand new and you've never, been out there, whatever the onset experience is, it's probably not the program for you, but at the same time, we do conduct workshops, have programs, as well as partner with folks like the MPC, David Hartman over there. There's a lot of things to kind of get your level up on the skills. And with the community, you can always find somebody to, hey, can I come on set? Can I, get some experience that way? So don't dismay if you don't feel that you have exactly the, the skills and the background for it. You should always apply. And if we feel that you're not ready for this particular program, we'll just let you know and tell you where to go, where you can get some more experience. But any questions out there about the program? Or, yep, I see somebody back here. Ty?
I'm coming over,
Okay.
I'm loud, so it's okay.
Okay, well, we love that.
So how much time, from beginning to end, did your fellows spend on this project? Was it spread out over weeks or months? How did that work?
Great question. It was spread out over several months. And because this was the first time that we were doing this pilot and focusing on social impact storytelling, not only from creative production standpoint, but how do we equip this filmmaker who, in Michelle's case, had her own small company, how do we also help her to see how to make her business a little bit more viable, so sort of behind the scenes business administration as well. So it's really how much you want to learn about what it takes, whether you want to emphasize a little bit more, I want to gain more production or post-production experience, or, I really want to learn a bit more about how do you run a creative agency, what are my workflows, how do I talk to clients, how do I price myself, how do I market myself, right? So really thinking holistically, that was our intention. So it's truly like any opportunity, the more that you invest in it, the more you can take out of it, but at the very minimum, a few hours a month. And it's mostly virtual, and as my whole company operates, and then we come together for production. I'll also say that if this particular opportunity is not a good fit for whatever reason, we're always looking for freelance talent in terms of folks that can interview, that can join us on shoots and help make the experience really great for the people that we're interviewing, or for post-production as an editor. So, at any part of the process for Envision, if our mission appeals to you and you think that you have something to offer, we're always happy to chat.
Thank you.
Over there?
You started talking a little bit about the skills and talents that you were developing with this past opportunity. Can you talk more about more of the skills that you were developing and how you went about developing those, especially doing it virtually and for a few hours a month? That doesn't sound like very much.
You should disclose who you are relative to Envision.
I'm Diana Porter, and I have worked with Envision before.
I was like, I know that face. So it's magical. So in terms of, I can only speak for Michelle, and we've only had 1 year of this experience, but our company operates mainly virtually. So it'll be, Zoom chats on, what do you want to gain from this? What projects might be a good fit for the fellow to be a part of. And so for Michelle, we gave her a few options, and so she chose one. And as life would have it, flexibility is super important because it turned out that, those weren't the best fit projects for many reasons. And so this one with the MA LGBT Chamber of Commerce was actually, a much better fit. And so we're incredibly flexible because we know how life can be. And sometimes projects are outside of our hands or in the client's hand. And so I think, flexibility is super important, being able to, prompt communications, professionalism is important, being able to articulate what are you seeking to gain so that we can support you as a team. And if it's not us, then WIFNI can support you, or Sharon, or someone else in our network. So it's really an appetite to learn as much as it is to contribute your skills. So we see this as a mentorship opportunity so that we can support other women filmmakers to be able to have viable careers in doing what they love.
Yeah, and I think with Envision, the team is you come with a certain set of skills, and wherever there's a gap, because they're so skilled in soup to nuts, basically, they can help fill that in, and it can be done virtually, which is great. And the other thing I want to say about this program, it is a stipend program. So one of the things that we do try to do is we know, many of you work, we know you might be taking hours or days out of work to do this, so we try to stipend a little bit so it's not too much of a blow and you're not getting paid that day. So there is a little bit of a stipend along with it. And there's also responsibility, right? We expect you to show up. We expect you to be professional. We want you to learn, because if you're chosen, you're probably chosen, but I believe we had 15 applicants. So you're taking the space of somebody else that wants to learn. So there's a lot of responsibility with showing up and being there. There's a big commitment to it. There's could be several hours. It could be big gaps in the program, like a month or two because of whatever's going on in production. So you do have to have some flexibility, but it is an amazing, hands-on, get to know people who are in this business, who are incredibly successful, and an incredible opportunity.
I'll also add, it's a great marketing opportunity for the fellow as well, because you're leveraging the platform that we have of Envision and also WIFNI. So they're ideally, a fellow can be really savvy with how they want to use that experience to be able to, carry forward their career.
Any other questions? Yep.
I wonder how,
Hello? There it is.
I wonder how you go about selecting the stories, and are you looking for applicants to bring a story idea to you, or how did you come upon doing this story for the Chamber?
That's a great question. So we co-create the stories with our clients in a really in-depth pre-production process. Some clients are more hands-off, some clients are more hands-on, but we try to be as collaborative as we can to make sure we deeply understand that organization. For the initial stages when we were working with the first fellow, in this first iteration, we had a few choices of what project it could be, and one was a more defined sort of turnkey, we understand exactly what to do, there's not that much creative input, and another one that was super creative but a little bit more politically charged. That everyone was excited by that, the fellow as well. It just turned out with this political climate with the government, we just couldn't, that story just could not be told right now, so it had to be put on pause. And so we had to find another, social issue-driven, human-centered project where the fellow can truly bring herself, and our team can also seamlessly bring her along with the client as well. Hopefully that answers your question.
One more question if we have one. Otherwise, we can move on. One more? We got one more? Oh, question over here.
Hi, thank you. My question is, do you receive a lot of grants, and if so, are you finding a lack of funding due to the climate right now? And how are you, just if you don't mind speaking on that, thank you.
So we're a for-profit company. We do have a social mission, and this program is one of the ways in which we give forward and make sure that our impact goes into the community beyond the clients that we serve. So we are a small company, an award-winning agency, named the 2025 Micro Enterprise of the Year for Massachusetts by the SBA. We've been on a long trajectory of growth. So thank you.
That's right, look at that.
That being said, we're not immune to the changes in the federal government, because if our clients are hurting and our clients are doing amazing social change work, then we're also hurting because we're the ones supporting them. And if they're not able to sustain themselves, then investing in storytelling is really not a priority for them. So we've always had to be scrappy, always had to be creative, and we thank our committed clients who continue to work with us, and we're always chasing new opportunities and developing talent as well, because as you know, this is a long-term investment. You know, relationships and mentoring and being able to do good work at a certain point, it pays for itself.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Tariana Little and Envision and the Director Shadow Program. For more information, go to our website. All right. We have SAG-AFTRA coming up. Come on up.
She's a pain in the ass.
And you're perfect?
Exterior Massachusetts Turnpike Day. The traffic continues to inch along. Interior of Shannon's car day. Debbie returns the smartphone to her pocket.
Courtney has a point. Your skating's a thing. The time, the money.
Sorry, I have talent.
We're proud of your talent, but it's costing us.
Things will change.
In 4 years, maybe. We need endorsements, gigs. Gaston's worse than a mortgage payment.
Then I'll get a GED and a job. I'll pay for it myself. Debbie stifles a laugh.
Bagging groceries won't help. You need an education.
Not for skating. There's the Olympics, then there's ice picks. You know how much they're paying Will?
Because he's an Olympic champ, a headliner. The average showgirl makes nothing.
They make something, and they get experience for coaching later on. You think I'm average?
Of course not. I'm just saying you need a fallback in case skating...
It's my life. Exterior Massachusetts Turnpike Day, the traffic begins to break up. Interior of Shannon's car day, Debbie gives Kelly's hand a love tap.
You're right. You're almost 18.
Thanks, Mike.
Don't thank me. If anything goes wrong, it's on you. That's being an adult.
Rain begins to fall. Debbie turns on the windshield wipers. The sound morphs into figure skates. Interior Crossover Training Center, rink day. Swishing across the ice, the blades glide across the ice surface faster and faster. The skates belong to Kelly. She performs a short program to the classical music sounding through the rink. Other skaters give Kelly the right of way. It's skating etiquette for those practicing their programs. Down the ice, Gaston watches Kelly with a critical eye. At the end of her program, Gaston skates over to Kelly and hands her his cowboy hat. He then demonstrates a spin combination with 1 change of foot, 3 changes of position, and a change of edge on the sit spin. It's clear that Gaston was a great skater back in the day. Upon finishing the spin combination, Gaston reaches for his hat.
Got it?
Kelly copies his moves. She's good, but stiff. Gaston takes Kelly by the chin. He inspects her face, then her eyes. What?
You're still a virgin.
Kelly pulls away from him, almost falling on her rear end. Gaston chuckles.
I knew it. Your hips are tight. Please screw someone before nationals.
Just then, a techno program starts to blare for a gawky male skater, early teens. The poor kid pops all of his jumps. Everyone on the ice gives him the right of way, except for Sandrine, who power strokes in front of him, causing him to flail before regaining his balance. Skaters whisper to each other throughout the rink.
Oh my God, did you see that? What a bitch. She cut him off.
Sandrine continues on her merry way, launching into a triple Lutz, only to 2-foot the landing. The other skaters snicker. Furious, Sandrine kicks the ice with a toe pick.
Sandrine.
Ivanka Platova, early 50s, Sandrine's Russian coach, storms over to her in a pair of boots.
Kick the ice, I kick you off.
Whatever. The techno music stops.
This is why you don't win. Attitude.
Right. Blame it on me, not the coaching.
What you say?
Nothing, Ivanka.
Fine. I give you nothing.
Ivanka walks away from her bratty student.
Ivanka? Ivanka! Who needs you?
As Kelly's classical music sounds through the rink again, Sandrine looks down the ice. and catches Kelly landing a perfect triple Lutz. Worried, then angry, Sandrine tightens her ponytail before skating down the ice toward Kelly, who's about to jump again. Sandrine cuts in front of Kelly, but isn't fast enough to avoid a collision. Wham! Kelly smashes to the ice, while Sandrine smashes into the boards. The ring falls silent for a second. Then Sandrine and Kelly cry out in pain. Gaston races toward them on his skates.
Call an ambulance.
Exterior Boston Hospital emergency entrance, night. A busy night with ambulances pulling in and out of the entranceway. A loud siren wails outside. Interior Boston Hospital emergency waiting area, night. While a baby girl wails beside Gaston in a stroller, he scans the waiting room for another seat. There isn't one. Gaston turns to the baby's mother, early 20s, who's playing with a smartphone in the neighboring chair.
What's wrong with your child?
She's tired.
Then take her home.
The baby's mother shoots Gaston a look.
I'm waiting for my husband.
You have a husband. How refreshing.
Indignant, the baby's mother walks away with her stroller. Gaston spreads out on his chair, relieved. Suddenly, a male emergency attendant, early 20, appears.
Gaston Smith,
Gaston raises his hand as if he's in school.
your daughter's asking for you.
Gaston stands without correcting him. Interior emergency room corridor, night, and follows the attendant toward Kelly on a gurney pushed up against the wall.
Where's her room?
Full house tonight. She'll get one later.
As the attendant leaves, Gaston approaches Kelly.
You wanted me?
Kelly, drugged, speaks in a spacey drawl.
Ma left.
She's with the doctor. Your dad's on his way.
Where's gangrene? Puzzled at first, Gaston breaks into a smile.
Gangrene's in surgery.
What? Why?
Separated shoulder. She'll be lucky to get an ice show. Have they said what's wrong with you?
Kelly nods.
My hip flexed.
Gaston's eyes widen.
You mean hip flexor?
Kelly closes her eyes for a drug-induced nap. Gaston remains by her side. Despite his bravado, he begins to sweat.
So thank you to all of our actors. They did a fantastic job. So I'm sure you guys have some questions. So Caitlin, I'll have you come back up because some I'm sure will be for you. So any feedback or questions, just raise your hand and I can, if you're loud, great. If not, I can run over with the mic. There's one in the back. Hopefully I'm not screwing these mics up by walking around.
What inspired you to write about figure skating?
Get my exercise.
My father, in addition to my sister being a competitive figure skater, I neglected to include that my father, in addition to his day job, was president of the Skating Club of Worcester. And so I really marinated in this world. And it's one of those things I was always shocked that nobody had ever really written about. There's been, movies like Ice Princess and Ice Capades, inspired movies, but nothing about the backstabbing that really goes on behind the scenes. So this is more of a soapy, cutthroat comedy on ice. And that's what inspired me, because it was just too many juicy stories to tell. When the skaters all get together, I'm like E.F. Hutton, I listen, and I had to write it. Whatever they say, it can and will be used against them.
Caitlin, why did you choose to do it as an episodic versus a film? Yeah, thank you.
It's a good question. It actually did start off as a feature, but then I realized, and I did like the feature, but there were just so many other stories I wanted to tell, and I wanted to show the evolution of Kelly, from being, it's almost like, I'm gonna get a little, you can see my English teacher background here, from the Songs of Innocence and Experience, where she starts off very naive, and then becomes very jaded, and by season 5, she regains her sweetness, while also understanding how the business works. So you can't show that full journey in 2 hours, so I figured a 5-season show would do that. And there's room for spin-off as well. So I've thought all this stuff through. It's in the pitch deck.
Did you have a question before? Sorry.
So coming from this world, how much of this is you, or is this just a completely different peeled off story from what you know?
It's a peeled off story from what I know. But I did see, the Sandrines in the rink, who, you did a great job, by the way, with the attitude. Because it's true. I mean, it's such a tiring sport, an expensive sport. You sacrifice everything for it. Unless you're born with the trust fund, you are going into debt pursuing this dream. And there's very little, in return. So you're going to fight to get ahead. So being around people who I saw go into the ice shows, it's not like what you really want to be doing for the average figure skater. It's like becoming a porn star when you really wanted to be an Oscar-winning actress. It's just not really what you had in mind. So, and then you have all sorts of hijinks that happen on the road. It's the traveling circus. You get the stalkers, you get the skaters who get addicted to drugs. Some of them are dealing the drugs to make extra money. It's very, if the STDs make their rounds, you have all sorts of things going on, and this is something that will be part of the show. As I said, I know where the bodies are buried, so I could definitely write about it. But I've changed the names, and Ice Picks is not a real show. Although some people I know may wonder which show it is.
In your dream, product of this show, do you imagine it being 5 seasons purely episodic, or do you imagine seeing your characters evolve throughout the 5 seasons?
It's definitely, it's more like a soap opera where it's not, a procedure, a procedural show. You have, you have to watch it to see how one thing flows to the next. But I do see, possibilities for certain characters spinning off of the show, but you need to tune in to see where, the domino effect of, how Kelly evolves, and Sandrine and Will, and there's a whole cast of characters. This accident, Sandrine and Kelly will wind up in the same traveling ice show. Sandrine will get there first because her injury will prevent her from competing, but she'll be part of the synchro team, which is one step higher than being an animal in a show. And Kelly will become a pair skater because her injury isn't as serious as Sandrine's. So there will be the rivalry between them.
Hi. So for the 5 episodes, have you already envisioned or outlined every single episode? 5 seasons in each of the seasons?
Well, I haven't outlined every episode, but I have written a treatment which describes what I see happening for the various characters. I mean, there's definitely room for, the writer's room to, have their input, but I do have a vision on where I see Kelly, Sandrine, and Will going. And, but within that, summary, you have, it depends on where it lands, if it lands on a streamer or if it lands on a network. It should, with the raunchiness, wind up on a streamer, because I can't imagine CBS ever putting this on TV. But they'd have to seriously edit it, and it would lose the flavor that I want it to have. But I have envisioned where it goes, because I think you can sometimes watch a show and see where it jumps the shark, and I think that's because they haven't thought through the journey of their characters. But again, like I said, I'm not married to every single idea, but it will make, hopefully, whoever picks this up, confident that I have a vision for this, and the actors will have their say as well, if they get married to the part, what they want to have happen. And things can happen with chemistry, between certain characters, like Monica and Chandler getting together, and Friends. I never expected that, but some things just pop up organically. So, but there is a framework that was built.
Where is the show in the production process right now?
It is in my manager's hands. So the phone calls to Barry need to be made.
Someone on the side table and someone in the way back. All right, I'm gonna go this way.
Okay.
Hi, this was excellent. It was so much fun to watch, and I love these kind of soapy dramas. I was wondering, so you're saying 5 seasons, 2 questions. How many episodes do you predict per season? And the other thing is, do the seasons, are they fully rounded in that if you only got 3 or 4, people they'd still get the whole story? Or is it sort of like Sense8 where they left us hanging because they expected to get 5 seasons and didn't?
I think, well, each season in the treatment has a theme. So I think, if it gets canceled, like let's say someone puts it on TV, like Netflix, 2 seasons, they cancel it, I'll be sad, and maybe somebody will make the movie and we can wrap it up that way. But I think it's one of those shows where even though you should ideally be watching it, binge watching, and that's what I probably think is going to happen. If it lands anywhere, it'll be with a streamer. So it could be 8 to 10 episodes per season, I guess. It could be longer. It depends on what whoever picks it up wants. I think we've gotten away from the 24 episodes, unfortunately. But I do have gossip and stories, so I could do that if somebody wanted to. But seriously, it's a lifetime of stories. But I think if you missed a couple of episodes and picked it up, you would know what's going on. It's kind of like, I could turn on General Hospital today and kind of watch. Oh, if they cancel it?
Like what happened with Sense8, where they had 5 seasons, but Netflix only let them have 2 because of the movie. And so.
Right.
We're left hanging.
Well, I'm hoping it doesn't get canceled. Ideally, it'll be 5 seasons. So, I will, plot it where, it will go in the direction I want it to. But if it ended, I would, if they, actually I've seen some people do this, where if their show gets canceled, what was the spinoff for Battlestar Galactica? Caprica, where they told you how it was going to end. They just made an episode where they wrapped up all the storylines. So I would try to do that. And if people wouldn't do that, then I just put it online and like write it down and tell you what was going to happen. I wouldn't like to leave fans hanging, because I would be so honored that they took this journey with me. So I'd figure something out if somebody wouldn't help me. I'd just go around them. I'm from Worcester, I'll go around them.
Hi. Sorry. I'm a skater myself, so this definitely piques my interest, and I love hearing about this. Couple of questions, though, in terms of production. Are you going to cast other skaters do that if you have control of that, or are you going to end up more in the post-production, end up editing, kind of like that?
I would love to find actors who can skate. There are many skaters who do move into acting, so I think that would be possible. And that's something I've talked about with my manager, that I would love to see an actual skater play Kelly. I think, because when you're a skater, you know what it's like. It's ground truth. So that's my first instinct, but as you know, the writer does not always get the final say in the casting. But I'm hoping that we could find somebody who skates and then just surround them with bigger names, like for Gaston or the parents or the sister, and that way we could get that to be part of the show. But ideally, I would love to see skaters in this. So there are some very talented skaters who are also actors.
And are you planning to, what's the expected runtime for each episode that you're looking for?
It'll be an hour.
An hour?
Yes.
Awesome. Sorry. How deep into the hidden world of the figure skating, all that drama, everything else that goes behind the scenes, the locker room talk, how much of that are you planning to really dive into?
Well, the show is really taking place off the ice. So there will be, a performance, with each episode, and it can be, taken seriously. It could be something comical. It could have wardrobe malfunction. There'll be all sorts of things that go on, kind of like the way Empire did, like a song, an episode. But the show will be like backstage, in the traveling caravan, in the hotel rooms, in the bar, on the street. Like that's where the real show is taking place, and that's where you see the relationships, and the drama between. It's a comedy, because this is very funny stuff that goes on a traveling ice show. Like again, an animal costume is instant comedy right there, where somebody who's a Smurf is getting upset with another Smurf. But I do want to definitely show the relationships.
And also doing that too, when they're traveling, are we going to be expecting to see them just kind of domestically in the United States, or are they going to be worldwide as well?
I envision it domestically. It's not one of the top tier ice shows. It's more like they're going to the rinks and they're not even fully, because it's like vaudeville kind of dying out, where they're going to be playing to like half-filled houses.
Thank you.
Becky, do you have a question why I come around?
I was just wondering what materials your manager needs to try to sell this, like obviously the pilot and the treatment you mentioned. Is there a pitch deck or anything else that you've had to put together to make it, for them to try to put it out there?
Yeah, I do have a pitch deck, the treatment. I've pitched this, to other producers and networks, myself too before. So you just have to put yourself out there. It's a tough time in Hollywood, as you all know. So it's a miracle getting anything made, especially, I think I just recently read the statistic that 42% of writing jobs went away this past year. It's pretty rough out there. So, I'm trying, but and if you know someone who might be interested, feel free to tell them about this. There's a website called freeskatetheseries.com that you can check out, and I do have a little newsletter that can go out too. So please feel free to check out the website and follow it. But again, it is tough, but I'm definitely going to keep at it.
Thank you. Great. Caitlin, congratulations again. And I wanted to know the inspiration behind the title of the series.
Well, I mean, when we hear the word, free skate, the word free, because it's meant to be ironic that, poor Kelly has gone into serious debt pursuing her dream of skating. And when you have the free skate, it's where you get to show your stuff in a program. So it's really what she's striving for someday, is to feel free on the ice because she's free of the burden that she's been experiencing. Her family's free of the bills. Because when she joins the ice show, Gaston's going to take a percentage of what she's earning to help pay him back because he's affiliated with the ice show. He's a little shady with his little hat and his buckle. But yes, he's very shady. It's a love-hate relationship that they have. So she's like an indentured servant until she can break free.
It's great. Thank you so much. And, meeting your manager, how did you meet your manager, and are they LA based?
Yes, he's based in LA. His name's Barry Crost, and he was one of the the old school managers that really takes good care of you. He was part of Network being made. He represented Cat Stevens, Liza Minnelli. I don't know what he's doing with me, but thank God he is. But he also was one of the producers on What's Love Got to Do with It, about Tina Turner. So it's wonderful that he believes in me. I was recommended to him. So I was, and that's the question people always have is how do you, because first you have to get a manager. Getting an agent is, they will find you when they think they can make money off of you. So I do not have I have a manager, but I do not have an agent yet. But first you get an entertainment lawyer. And the entertainment lawyer can get your work out there if you don't have a manager yet. I don't know if you're aware of that, but they can submit the work for you to producers. Most producers will not take work from somebody just like who's the writer, but if you have a representative in between, they'll go for that. So I got an entertainment lawyer first, who happened to be New York based, so I could meet with him. And then it was someone who I met through the film festivals that I had attended, who just became a mentor to me, Stephen Nemeth, who introduced me to Barry, and that's how I got signed by Barry. If I didn't have that recommendation, I never would have met Barry.
Hi, I'm just curious about your writing process. Do you bounce your work off other writers and get critique, or do you pretty much do it all on your own and feel pretty confident about what you have?
I don't know if any writer feels very confident. we always worry. We just want to hear brilliant, but unfortunately my mom passed away, so I don't hear that anymore. I give it to my father. My father's my first reader, and I do have like a small group of writers who I will turn to. It's a lot. It's a big ask, asking somebody to look at your script and provide notes. And there's that very famous Evergreen article about I will not read your effing script, if you've never read this. Yeah, a lot of writers are very gun shy about reading someone's work because if you provide notes, they might get very defensive. So you know, tread carefully. If someone's reading your script, they're doing you a huge favor, so, you know, give them a gift or something. And I also have somebody who I sometimes will pay. He's been a long-time reader of mine, but I'll pay him for his time. But not the anyone asking for hundreds of dollars to read your script is a scam artist. Do not go for that. I gave him $60. That's all he wants. But I feel like I have to give something. If they're spending hours, taking hours from their life, they'll never get back on my work, and want to thank them in some way.
That's reasonable. Thank you.
I would like to know what moves you to write a comedy and why a comedy?
You know, when I first wrote Free Skate, I was thinking, is this a drama? Because there's so much sad stuff about this world, but it's just one of those inherently funny things, a nice show. So it's not like a pure comedy where it's slapstick and it's ha 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 with the canned, you know, laughter. It's more situational, you know, the things that happen that are absurd, you know, and it's an edgy, cutthroat comedy. In some ways, it's very dark at times, but you will laugh because it's just ridiculous, you know, some of the things that people say and do. And what they're asked to do in their performances sometimes are ridiculous too, like a crotch lift and things like that. The skater will know what I mean by that. It is exactly what you think it is in pair skating. Horrible.
I would love to know how you're planning on directing the show, or you're gonna hand it over to someone else to do so.
I'm not a director yet. Maybe I will direct someday. My very first feature film was produced this summer, and I was fortunate enough to be on set. So watching the director, I think, gave me some confidence, thinking I can do this too. Because I was able to participate in some of the meetings he had with his cinematographer, and it was really great to see that. So someday, I do plan on becoming a director, but not this moment. I would definitely hand it off to somebody else.
So when can we expect to see that on screen?
It's still with my manager, so it depends on when somebody wants it. Hopefully soon.
And someday you'll turn on the streaming and you'll be like, I was there for that table read, and I remember that. That was awesome.
I'm waiting for that crotch lift. Where is it?
I wanted to know if anyone had any questions for any of our readers. Or they were so magnificent that they did great and you have no questions. All right, I want to say thank you to all of our readers. Please stand up and take a bow, my lovely actors. We're all fabulous, and I'm sure they would read for hours if we let them. So, and Caitlin, thank you so much for submitting and being part of our organization, and thanks for everyone enjoying the table read. We're gonna probably need a couple minutes to flip. There's some snacks and waters in the back, so help yourself, and we will be right back at it in a couple minutes. Thank you.
Andrew's going to give a little bit of a spiel, not much, and then we're going to see a very short video, and then each one of you who needs to pitch a project, pitch yourself, we're going to time you. You have 1 minute to tell all of us what your project is about, and if anybody needs a guinea pig, I'm happy to do mine, okay? All right, so these are the important things, right? So you come to an event like this, and you're over at the buffet table, picking up a slider, and you're about to bite into it, and someone says, what do you do? Okay, well, I'm Sharon Contillo, and I'm a writer, director, producer, ba-da-da-da-da-da. Nice, what do you do? Oh, I'm Jane Smith, and that's great. What are you working on? I'm working on there's the 1 minute pitch, okay? If you can't get it done in 1 minute, and you're going, and then he takes the knife, and yeah, I'm going for the Capri salad. I'll be right back. Okay, so I will turn this over to you, sir. And let's do the 1 minute pitch. Let's see who's good.
All right, hello, thank you. Yes, Boston 48 Hour Film Project. These cards are out there. I also have New England screenwriters for one-on-one consultations. And I teach screenwriting at various places. But before all that, I was out in Los Angeles and working as a screenwriter on a lot of independent films and a lot of sort of straight-to-video stuff. And eventually I get a manager, and the manager really drill sergeanted me into improving my pitches, because as a writer, you know, I want to tell the whole story to the person. They're like, well, what are you working on? It's like, well, all right, so once upon a time, and my manager was like, no, you can't take that long, because, you know, the previous presentation was on video editing and editing a trailer. And basically your pitch is like a verbal coming attractions trailer. You have to like just boil it down to the essence of why do people want to see this? And it's very helpful to know, what is the hook? What is it that people want to see in this movie? Because if you can get that across to a producer or a decision maker, they're thinking, how am I going to market this? So if you can give them the marketing hook, then you make it easy for them to buy your project. And I did, in fact, do this. I sold a pitch to Warner Brothers that was going to be a Lindsay Lohan vehicle before Lindsay Lohan started having trouble with her vehicles, and it was a sad story, and it wound up being development hell. But so as an example, in my screenwriting classes, what I used to do was, like, if I was pitching Barbie, I would go, since 1959, Mattel Incorporated has marketed Barbie, Ken, and other dolls fashioned as idealized versions of adults for children to play with, leading to decades of commercial. That's not what Barbie's about. It's not the history of Mattel. It's this. A doll questions her seemingly perfect existence and discovers life is more complicated for women in the real world. Because that captures, there's a lot of Barbie movies. There's straight-to-video Barbie stuff. What made Greta Gerwig's movie an international blockbuster was that there was all the Barbie stuff, but it was it had the through line, this thematic through line about and using Barbie to explore the current day female experience, right? So if you can figure out what the through line of your project is, you're halfway there. And usually I find that when you're pitching a story, there are generally three types. One is thematic. Every story should have a good premise, good characters, and a good theme. But generally you will find that one of those things is the engine of the project, Again, there's been a million Barbie straight-to-video movies, but Greta Gerwig, it was the theme that drove it. If you have something that's character-driven, then you can't not have that character. Let's see, I wrote down examples so that I wouldn't forget. Like, say, like The Holdovers. If you saw The Holdovers filmed here in Massachusetts, it is, there's storylines, there's themes, but it's about hanging out with those specific characters. That was the driving force of that movie. And most movie pitches are premise-based, like John Wick. People shot his dog, he wants revenge. That's it. That's the premise. There are characters, I don't know if there's a theme except vengeance, but so it's helpful to know what is the driving force of my movie. And once you know that, it makes the pitch easier because that's what you're selling. And the other thing that my manager taught me was to say as little about your movie as possible to make it interesting, or your TV show, or whatever, your stage play, whatever you're pitching, to say as little as possible and then stop, because if you give the basics of your project, the person you're pitching is going to know right away if it's their kind of thing. If you pitch a horror movie and they don't do horror movies, they don't need to hear any more from you, But if they do like it, they'll ask you questions, and then you can fill in more and more and more information. And so my own personal formula for pitching, because I prefer just being home and writing. That's one of the nice things about writing. You're just home alone with your ideas and your imaginary friends. Pitching, though, is the business side of writing that you do, even if you're kind of not an extrovert, you do have to be able to get out there and talk to somebody and just, get into a conversation with them. And, it can be very intimidating depending, like if you're going into a development meeting, they're designed to be sort of intimidating. But even if you're just talking to somebody on an elevator, hence the term elevator pitch. You're traveling, 3 floors, you've got about a minute of the person's time. So what I find was my formula when I would go into development meetings was where the idea came from. So this pitch that I sold was, I had been pitching something else, but then my parents came to town to visit me in LA, and this is a little bit longer than a minute. This wasn't the minute version of the pitch, but when you have a few minutes to try to pitch somebody, I like to start with where it came from, because my mom ran a drama club in the town I grew up with, and they started doing drama club competitions, and I thought, drama club competitions? What a great idea. That would be a great idea for a movie. So my idea was that it would be this out-of-work actor. He can't get work acting, so he takes a job at a high school and gets sort of saddled with running the drama club. Then he finds out that his ex-girlfriend is working at the prestigious rich private school in their theater department that has all the fly systems, all the, broad, professional style theater stuff. They win the competition, the theater competition every year. So this guy, this out of work actor who's mad that she dumped him, he's like, I'm gonna take this little scrappy, small town, working class town drama club, I'm gonna beat her at her own game. And that is it, a competition about drama clubs. And then I stopped, and then the person, well, actually, if I could show that clip from The Player, my experience was actually very similar to the pitches in the Robert Altman movie, The Player, like as shown here.
Hi, Buck. How are you? Good. How you doing? Good. What do you got for me?
Okay, here it is. The Graduate, Part 2.
Oh, good.
Now listen, the 3 principals are still with us. Dustin Hoffman, Anne Bancroft, Catherine Ross. 25 years later, and so are the characters. Ben, Elaine, and Mrs. Robinson. Ben and Elaine are married, still. They live in a big, old, spooky house up in Northern California somewhere. And Mrs. Robinson lives with them. Her aging mother, who's had a stroke.
Mrs. Robinson's had a stroke?
Mrs. Robinson has a stroke, so she can't talk.
It's gonna be funny?
Yeah, it'll be funny.
With a
Dark
stroke?
and weird and funny and with a stroke.
Okay.
Maybe it's not a stroke. Maybe it's, I don't know what
Anyway,
it
go
is.
on.
It's a malady of some sort.
Okay.
She's up there in the bedroom upstairs listening to everything that happens. They've got a daughter who's just graduated
That's
from
good,
college.
that's good. Young blood.
22, 23-year-old, like a Julia
Julia
Roberts.
Roberts, right,
Excuse me.
right.
What
Yes.
did you want me to do with these scripts?
That goes to Bonnie Sherrill.
Okay.
And find out from Studio Security how Adam Simon got on the lot. I want to know.
Adam Simon, okay.
Okay?
Yes, go ahead.
Julia Roberts
Yes,
comes
Julia
home,
Roberts
their
comes home.
daughter, the graduate.
Yes,
And she
the new
brings her-
graduate.
The new graduate.
So that is very accurate. You have the idea. The idea is it's The Graduate, it's 20 years later, and whoever you're pitching, they say, so wait a minute, so Mrs. Robinson's had a stroke, or not, because I'm like, you have to be very actively engaged in the conversation. Like, you know what? That's not the key. That's not the through line. That's a detail I can change, because you don't seem to be that into that detail, so I can certainly change that. But if you have the basics down, it's hard to get thrown, because my pitch that I sold, I pitched it to like an assistant to an assistant to an assistant, and she was like, hey, that's a great idea. I'm gonna have you talk to the head of production, the head of the production company. And he came in and was doing 73 different things throughout the pitch. I was all geared up for it. I was like, okay, I practiced it. And I'm like, so anyway, so there's a drama club. It's like, I think I want tuna. No, and he just kept interrupting me. But I knew the core of the idea. So I was able to just keep getting back to it and keep getting back to it. And little by little, he started going, so it's like the rich town and the working class town, and they're in a competition, and it's drama clubs? Yeah, okay, yeah, we can sell that. And he just he bought it on the spot, and I was like, what? I thought you weren't even listening to me. So, but he liked the basic concept, and so that's what we're gonna try to do here. If you have an idea, and I'll have Sharon be the first person. This is, I did this as a sort of more of a game show at the Williamstown Film Festival, and we may have sort of a more competitive one, but this is just like sprints. What do you call it when you're just you know, it's like a
Yeah,
practice
speed
game.
dating.
This isn't, yeah.
Speed pitching.
So this is just a practice game to, you know, if you would like to come and see, can you get your idea out in a minute? Let's, you can test it here. So do you want to come up on stage to make it a little more, now, if you want to do it, but you don't want to come up on stage, I can just come out to you as well. If you just want to say, like, yeah, I have an idea, can I get it in a minute? Is there a nice loud buzzer at, when the,
Flashes red.
it flashes red, okay. So I will provide the buzzer, and let's see if Sharon can get her pitch in a minute, starting now.
Hi, I'm Sharon Contillo. I have a family dramedy called The Grandparents, and it is retired from the mob grandparents, kidnap their grandchildren from their helicopter parents, take them on a world tour while being chased by the cops.
Oh, very nice. And you have so much more.
Yeah? Do you want to hear more?
I would love to hear more. And I should say, like, you know, many of you already know that there is, one of the things about pitching is, are you doing a high concept pitch or a low concept pitch? You know, like, you know, the mob kidnaps kids from their helicopter parents. That's a, you know, that's a pitch you can get, like, pretty quickly. It's an amusement park, but it's full of live dinosaurs, things go awry. That's Jurassic Park, that's high concept. But I should point out that even if you have a low concept indie, and the one that I always give as an example is the film Slacker by Richard Linklater, if you saw that. It has, there's no story, and it has like 97 characters. And what happens is you meet a character, and then that character goes and talks to somebody, and then you follow Sharon, and then Sharon goes and talks to somebody, and then you talk to the next person over the course of 24 hours in Austin, Texas, right? How do you pitch that? Well, Richard Linklater said it's a look at Generation X and the bohemian culture in Austin, Texas over the course of 24 hours. It's like, yeah, you know, it's a very low concept pitch, but you can still get at the heart of it. It's about Austin, Texas, it's about slackers and Generation X, boom. All right, so who
who's next?
has a pitch?
All
Yep.
right.
Oh, all right.
Who is it? I can't say. Do we have a, we need a, I'm going to get off stage here.
Okay. Oh, I'm going to be on this side so I can see the timer. All right, hi, welcome to the studio.
Well, this has been the biggest choir that I ever had.
All right, ready and go.
Hi, my name is Sean, and I was hit in the head with a baseball bat back in 2007, of July 7th of 07. Now, one of the questions is, how did that happen? I was on gangland territory, was a mistake that was never supposed to be on the property. And now I graduated from Bristol Community College, and now I'm accepted to Bridgewater State University.
Nice, 35 seconds. And I would ask more questions, like, so, you know, so does, what's the span of the story? Like, how do we see, does it start with the baseball bat incident? Do we see a little before that, and then it goes on?
Well, a little before that is I was actually on gangland territory, like I said, and I was practicing football because it was on a Saturday, and my game was on Sunday. So that's, like I said, so I was practicing for that, and before that actually happened, I was in my basement where the lights went out.
And then and after the incident, and then it goes, and the end of the story is the graduation?
The end of the story is actually going to be me graduating from Bridgewater State University.
And so there's a clear arc to the story. That's another thing to bear in mind, especially if you're doing a character-based story. What is the arc of the protagonist? The protagonist goes from hit with a baseball bat to overcoming that obstacle and succeeding and graduating college in spite of everything. Scrooge, Ebenezer Scrooge starts off as the meanest miser in all the land, or at least in London, and becomes the nicest, most philanthropic lover of Christmas thanks to the intervention of 3 ghosts. Well, thank you very much. Do you have a title? Do you have a title?
Yeah, the title is actually called A Kid Who Strives to Live His Dream.
A kid who strives to live his dream, and the studio executive will go, live his dream. That's going to fit on the poster. Well, thank you very much. That's an excellent pitch. Thank you. And any other pictures? Yep, I see right there. And again, any producers out there, just keep your ears open. It would be nice to say, the project all started at this weird pitching conference thing. All right, hello, welcome.
Hi.
All right.
Okay.
And begin.
So, my name's Sam, and my pitch is about a high-stakes political thriller set in the world of student government.
Oh, nice. Oh, okay.
It's a comedy. It takes place over 4 seasons, and there's a lot of blackmail and behind-the-scenes stuff going on. During the campaign, you find out that one of the students actually transferred to the school because he got in trouble for drug dealing at his school, and he's a botany major. So,
nice. And that is the botany major running for student government?
Botany major is running for student government against the sitting.
And why do they want to get in student government?
What?
Well, why does the botany major want to get in student government?
Oh, he was in student. He's always been in student government. Now it's just he's in this new school
and trying to rebuild and resuscitate his life.
Exactly.
Perfect. What's the title?
Pure Democracy.
Pure Democracy, right? You didn't have a title until that moment. A title is good because it helps them to remember, it's the botany Pure Democracy guy. Very good. Excellent. Yep, I see you right over there. And then after. Oh, sorry. Okay. Okay. All right. I'll be honest, I am so happy to see all the unstoppable people here who are doing their pitches. I thought I was going to have to just vamp for, but look at this, everybody's coming up and pitching. This is Whitney after all. Hello. All right, ready and begin.
Hi, I'm Diana Portner and my creative partner, and I have a near-future sci-fi feature film called Code Demon.
Wow.
AI is growing by leaps and bounds, and AI companions, especially AI girlfriends, are becoming very real, so very real. The only thing that separates them is that they don't have a body. In our film, a corporation comes up with a way to install your AI companion into a real live human body. But where do the bodies come from?
Oh, nice. I'm going to have nightmares today.
That's what we do.
And that's a great pitching technique to end on a question. That's going to get the development person to go, where do the bodies come from? Code Demon, I think, and it all ends very happily, I would imagine.
Sure. It does actually, for our main character who was human trafficked, a little bit of an answer to that question.
Right.
It does end very happily for her. We do, most of our films leave our audiences wanting more and feeling a little bad and maybe changing the way they do things. And in this film, we still have a bit of that, but we have a feel-good ending as well.
And and speaking of feel-good endings, even adding that extra material, you still had, you still made it basically in under a minute with the basic pitch and then the additional information. Very nice. All right, we have our next pitch. Thank you very much. Oh, I think she's going to. Yeah. Oh, did she? Oh, she has. Everybody's got their own mic. Yeah. It's good to bring your own mic.
I maybe should have gone before her. That was amazing.
All right, ready? And let's start the timer.
Hi, I'm Kristen Golden. I'm a screenwriter and producer, and I have a feature film, an adventure film, based on a true story. It's called Awe, and it is about the polar explorer, Anne Bancroft, who is the first woman to lead an expedition across Antarctica, which is the coldest place in the world. And the reason she decided to do this is she was the first woman to trek to the North Pole. She was the only female member of the Steger expedition. So 7 men, 49 male sled dogs, one refused to go, it was 50. And they didn't know what to do with her, she didn't know what to do with them, but she really loved the adventure. So she decided to do her own expedition. This is in 1992, before the internet, before GPS. It's a challenge. And corporate partners did not want any part of it. They said things like, we don't want to see our corporate logo on the body, a dead body on the ice. Thank you very much. So they only were able to raise about $750,000, and they didn't, oh, okay.
No, but it's good. You gave, you got the essence of it and background and, first of all, I noticed a lot of these pitches are starting with announcing the genre right off the bat. So you know, like, it's this kind of movie, which can be helpful. Although, you know, just telling a story like, you know, so I was hit in the head with a bat, that's a great opener too. But this tells the story, and you're filling in you're answering the question for the development executive before they you know, wondered, like you said, the Steger party, and I was like, who's the Steger party? And then you answered that question right away. And
I only had a half a sentence left.
Okay, yeah.
Which is that they were only able to raise $750,000, so they did not have enough money to be rescued off the ice if anything went wrong, and everything went wrong.
That is a great ending as well, because then, so a great, I assume a happy ending, or for some people? Okay.
It wasn't what everyone wanted.
Right. Okay. See, I would want to ask more questions. To end on a cliffhanger is always good. All right, and so I'm just pointing to. Did you want to pitch still? Yep. And then after. Yep. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you all for pitching. All right. Actually, just to make it a little more orderly, maybe if people want to pitch, just could come over here, and then we can pitch until Sharon says we can't pitch anymore. I think that might be good.
It's like Comic-Con, just line up.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's start the timer.
Okay, so my name is Kim Nemi, and I've written a family-centered buddy comedy called Flashback Friday, in which an estranged married couple who got married too young, pregnant of the prom, are brought onto a mystical scavenger hunt where they are taken through life milestones, relationship milestones, and given marital and relationship and life advice by 80s characters from movies and other pop culture icons from the 80s. It all culminates in a happy ending at the daughter's 80s retro senior prom.
Perfect. And what's the title again?
Flashback Friday.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I am an 80s child, so I would love to see that.
Gen X.
And I am going to start going, oh my God. Okay, I'm going to start going a little bit faster. Thank you very much. All right, next up. All right, and start the countdown.
All right, so I have a short film that I've started creating already. It is a collage style of self-filmed little short pieces. It is a short film on womanhood, where I've asked a bunch of different women of different aspects, some from California, some from here on this coast. I really want to expand it into different age ranges, different nationalities as well, and I want to get a full scope on what every woman idealizes is womanhood.
And what would be the length of the project?
Right now it's about 6 minutes, but I'm hoping to take it to about 30, 45, if I can, into like an hour and 15, but the development into how to keep the viewer's attention throughout that is still in the works.
That reminds me of the Diane Keaton film Heaven, where a lot of people talk about their ideas of the afterlife. And what is the title again?
Pretty.
Pretty?
Pretty.
Pretty, very nice. All right, thank you very much. All right, next up, in the Pitcherama. Unfortunately, I cannot greenlight any of these projects. I probably should have stated that right at the start. But hello, welcome, and start the timer. Let me see. Hey, here, you can take this one.
Oh.
Okay.
Check, 1, 2.
Check.
Okay, my name is Sean. It's a grounded science fiction that focuses on the question of what if Mary Shelley's Frankenstein was modern day practice, but owned by a private company. And the character itself is a young boy who wants his mother back. He's about to find out what happens.
And the boy is the monster?
No, the boy is the one that wants the service. You go up and you pay a fee.
Oh,
Yeah.
like Pet Cemetery, but for profit.
Yeah.
Ooh, comedy or horror comedy?
I would say it's a drama.
A drama?
No, it's not a horror.
And what's the title again?
Prometheus, Inc.
Prometheus, Inc. Very good. All right. Next pitch, please. I hope producers out there taking notes. We'll have a bidding war later. Hello. Nice
Hi.
to see you.
Nice to see
All
you.
right, and let's start the timer.
Hi, I'm Andrea Lyman. My project is a senior prom. A local sorority and fraternity are in trouble and for shenanigans. And for their community service, they have to help the local senior residents put on their senior prom. And it started because one of the seniors never went to her prom, and the others are trying to help her out. And we have all of the many stories of the young folks and the old folks and the love triangles and things.
Is the title Senior Prom?
Yes.
I went, aw. That's if a development executive goes, aw, I'm not a developer, but I think in general that's a good, because it's got the double entendre title. Very nice. All right, well, excellent. All right. Hello. Oh, it's nice to see you. Yeah.
Becky did it.
I remember. Hello.
Yes.
All right, and start the timer.
Okay, my pilot, Time to Go, is a family dramedy about a 90-year-old woman who is feeling ready to go. The problem is that she's too healthy. She really wants to join her deceased husband, Giovanni, in heaven.
Right.
Forgot to mention her name's Grace. And her fun-loving caregiver granddaughter helps her embark on a bucket list of adventures in an effort to help her go out with a bang. In the process, she rekindles her joy for life and starts to question whether it's her time to go after all.
Ah, that's very nice. And I like that you started that it's a pilot. So this is going to be an ongoing series of adventures.
And some of the future episodes I have that she has a near-death experience. She actually sees her husband, but she decides to come back. So those are some of the thoughts.
And the title?
Time to Go.
Time to Go. Excellent. Thank you very much. All right, next up. All right. There are a lot of good stories out there. All right, hello, and let's start the timer.
My name is Amanda Marie, and I want to live in a world where we all feel comfortable being ourselves, being human. But how do we do that in a world that gets wicked exotic? We just have to be mindfully chaotic. So in order to figure out how to do that, with myself and members of the community from near and far, I'm bringing us together to find the baselines of humanity so that we can be comfortable being true to who we are, believing in ourselves, and bringing forward the life that we want to live. Because that's what we all deserve.
And that is a series, correct?
That is a talk show called
talk show.
Mindfully Chaotic.
Yes.
And it will involve guests from all over who do not know each other when they originally come together. And we're going to have real life, raw conversations, sharing our experiences, and trying to inspire the community to be able to be themselves and true to that as well.
And I will say, this will be, you could get more of that, because I recognize that as one of the videos that will be featured later in the Spotlight video presentation, showing what members are up to. So you got a pitch and a video pitch coming up. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And what is it again? Chaotic?
Mindfully Chaotic.
Mindfully Chaotic. Title says what it is. It's kind of like, yeah, the title says what the thing is. That's helpful. Thank you very much. All right, next up. Hello.
Thank you. Love and good vibes.
Hello, welcome.
Just to let you know, I work better with a script.
Wow. All right, and let's start the countdown.
Hi, I'm Bob Tarangelo. My feature-length screenplay drama is inspired by a true story. It's set in 1979 Long Island, and it involves a common young man who's lacking in confidence but has the support of his cop bar buddies and his family. He's almost killed by a drunk driver, and he's saved by a mysterious guardian angel who disappears into the night. And over a year and a half of therapy, recovery, he walks back into work, and it's a happy ending story. It's like Soul Surfer, it's like Rudy, and it's like Stronger.
And the title?
Sudden Miracle.
Sudden Miracle? Does the guardian angel come back?
That's a big question.
Oh,
There's also a hint that maybe he has a romantic relationship with the nurse who takes a special interest in him while he's in the hospital.
Very nice.
But it's just a hint.
And that's I got different feedback on pitching a project and naming like other comparisons. Some people say, yes, absolutely do that. Some people say, oh, don't do that, make it your own thing. But people do it all the time. If you don't do it yourself, like, oh, so it's like this plus that, the development executive often will. So very good. Also, I think, is that a video on the Spotlight?
I have a short video.
Yeah, on the,
It's not that.
but that's a different thing. Okay, well, thank you very much. All right, excellent pitch. Hello.
In A Kid with 10 Parents, 10 imperfect adults come together to raise one child together and to become the people that they aspire to be good enough parents that they feel right about the kind of world they're leaving for their child, the contribution they're making, and the negative impact they're not making. And they'll go to any lengths they can to stop global climate change for their child. This is a dramedy. It's the Brady Bunch meets The Last of Us, I guess. The third most streamed show on Netflix movie was Don't Look Up. But I feel we need something that is like that, but hopeful. We need something that we can aspire to.
Nice, right on the button. And also, again, starting out with a question, directly speaking to the people you're pitching. Very nice. All right, well, thank you very much. And hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello.
What is your pitch, if we could start the clock?
Good afternoon. My name is Sharon Butler Charles. I'm working on a short film. It's on the cusp of short film feature. It's a romance suspense thriller. I'm currently shooting this film, actually. It's about a young Nubian professional who, on her quest to find her person, decides to walk down a path that not only upends her life, but also exposes a web of secrets that exposes her father's demons, that also compromises the family bond and her family. So.
And what are those demons?
Gotta read the book. I'm also an author too. You have to watch the movie.
All right, and what is the title again?
The Daily Chronicles of Dakota Ellison.
And also it's like, if you've got elements in a pitch in addition to the story, like this is already in production. Yeah. Always good to mention. It will potentially star Lindsay Lohan. Say, that's also a good one. All right, well, thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
All right, next up. Hello, and welcome to Hollywood East. All right, ready, and timer.
All right.
Oh, wait, we're at 19, hold on. Well, it's the speed round, no. We'll give you the full minute. Well, you know what, you might as well take advantage. Oh, okay, never mind.
Drag it.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll time it in my mind. All right.
All right, my name is Ann Vinsel. I have a short drama. A young, naive cab driver faces a moral decision of what to do when a baby is abandoned in his cab.
Oh,
It is based on a true story.
and when you say short drama, like this is for a short?
Yes.
About how long?
I would say 15 minutes.
Oh, all sort of taking place in the cab, basically?
Yes.
And what is the title?
The Decision.
The Decision? Okay, I'm very interested. Tom Waits supposedly born in a taxi cab. And I'm a fan of Tom Waits, so I'm like a natural audience for this. Well, thank you very much for the pitch. All right. And up next. Hello, and welcome.
Hello.
All right, and we have the timer. And begin, please.
All right, so my name is Sky Trietta, and I have a film that I promise you will connect to every single person who walks the face of the earth. Because everyone has had to adapt to change. Whether it is moving to a new location or going through a relationship, everyone has. And in my film, there is no greater change than the zombie apocalypse.
Yes.
In my film, our character Isaac, a teen who just lost his eldest brother, will be going through this world trying to reject it. But the theme of the story is adapting to change when it comes and not rejecting it. And this will be shown by the villain of the story turning him into a zombie, becoming a part of the new world, and maybe that's not a bad thing.
Maybe the zombie utopia, not zombie apocalypse. What is the title?
The Flood.
And of course, mentioning everyone on Earth will want to see it appeals to the 4-quadrant model that Hollywood loves so much that everyone will see the movie. Sorry, what's it called again?
The Flood.
The Flood. Excellent. Very good. I have never disliked any zombie movie I've ever seen, so that pitch would be very effective for me personally. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. All right, and I think, so I guess 2 more? Yes? Okay. All right. Well, thank you all for coming and hearing all these wonderful pitches. And here is another one with the timer starting now. Yeah, it's bright.
Very right. Hi, my name is Kasia Skolasa, and I am currently working on my short film that is going to be a comedy. It is about 2 sisters who haven't spoken for nearly 20 years because one sister stole the other sister's fiance. However, now they are faced with the fact that they are invited to the mother's grand birthday party because the mom has a surprise, and the birthday party is mandatory.
Yeah.
What is the surprise and what's going to happen?
I love a mandatory birthday party. That's going to go well, I'm sure. And what is the title?
We don't know yet.
And did you say it was a short?
It is a short.
About how long are you thinking it'll be?
Up till 20 maybe. If we have to go into feature, we will. It doesn't matter.
Perfect. So it could expand?
Yes.
Very good. All right. Well, thank you very much. I think we have one more pitch. Now everybody's thinking,
This is a different one from before, guys.
Burbling in everybody's minds. Yes, and now a different pitch. All right, and start the clock.
Okay, my name is Sam Smith-Boyle, and this one is called The City of Shadows. It is a neo-noir movie. It's like mid-century with a modern twist, so it kind of seems like it could take place in like the 40s, 50s, but you know, you have cell phones, you have modern stuff, modern cars, etc. And it's about a private detective and a mob queenpin. We're kind of seeing both sides of them. She is trying to consolidate power and take over all the mob stuff in the city, and then it's a private detective, a Timothy Oliphant type, trying to stop her from doing that. And I'd hope that someone that's like an Una Chaplin type would play Gianna, our mob queenpin, who kills her father and her brother for power. And the private detective is named Scott Sharp.
And
his goal is to stop her from doing that.
Oh, is there a romance, or are they just enemies? Or both?
Both.
Perfect. All right.
You know, the little back and forth. I would describe it as like Justified meets Maltese Falcon.
Nice. And what's the title again?
City of Shadows.
City of Shadows. All right, well, we'll end with that. And thank you very much. Oh, you know, I guess I'll ask, I don't know, if anyone has any pitching questions or questions about anything else, might as well do a quick, I don't know, any questions, or we'll wrap it up and move on to the next event. Yeah.
How do you suggest, if you feel that they are open to being followed up with,
Right.
how do you suggest is the best way to follow up?
I think it's best to just follow their questions. Like, after you've laid out the basics of it, they will have questions, and just follow their lead, I find is the best way to go. And sometimes, like, their question might remind you of something like, oh, I meant to mention, but if they're asking questions, you know, they're at least a little bit on the hook, and they become maybe they're a little friendlier, and maybe the situation's a little bit less frightening, and you're like, oh, I'm in a conversation, I'm not in like a competition all of a sudden. But definitely follow the lead of whoever you're pitching. Yeah.
What kind of visuals would you recommend bringing to a pitch?
I never brought anything. I don't know, you know, I mean, I know like a lot of projects get pitched with nice lookbooks or pitch decks. I think that it would sort of depend on, I mean, a lot of times you're just taking meetings and you're just, you know, just talking. And I think, so when I did my pitch, I just was saying, well, here, you know, it's like, what are you working on? Well, here's my idea. And it's like, oh, okay, come back and we'll have another meeting. So a lot of times, you know, you don't sell the pitch right off the bat. It kind of escalates. So initially it might be kind of just a verbal pitch, but then they might, you know, say, oh, do you have a treatment? Can I read the treatment? And, you know, you might say to them, can I put together a pitch deck? But I wouldn't say, unless it's requested, you're probably just going in with just you and your ideas. Yep.
Pitching itself can be a very scary thing for a lot of people.
Yes.
So what would you say?
Hello, Mike. Pitching itself can be very scary for a lot of people, especially getting on stage. So what would you say to those individuals that might consider themselves more introverted, or how to actually connect and get your ideas? Because they can have the best idea in the world, but if you can't communicate it, you're lost.
My advice is what I wish I had known when I was younger, which is, you know, to constantly just be putting work out, because this is, you know, kind of talking about the pitch to a development executive in a meeting, and you're kind of cold calling, you're going in, it's like they're seeing 1 million people, it's like, all right, next, what's your idea? You know, that could be an unfriendly environment. But the other kind of pitching you do is you've been doing work and you've met people who like your work and who you're legitimately friends with, and sometimes you do the nice pitch, which is like, hey, I have a new project, you want to check it out? I was thinking this, and you're sort of pitching somebody you know. That's the best kind of pitch, to establish a body of work, so that, and work, you know, you're talking to somebody you've worked with in the past, or somebody who already likes what you're doing. I would say that is the best way for introverts to pitch. Show them like they already know your work. Build your own audience is my advice for every form of the arts. I don't know if that answers the question, but that is much easier for me these days. That's what I try to do these days. Yep.
I'm thinking of emailing a short logline introductory email with an attached pitch deck. Just cold to studios to see, you know, if they'd be interested in reading the script. Is that the right way to start off?
Yeah, I mean, I would say like, because a query letter is kind of like just a typed out pitch, basically. It's the same basic concept of very short and sweet, here's what I got. I would say, you know, and of course, in my screenwriting classes, everyone starts with the the quote from the screenwriter William Goldman, "Nobody knows anything," which is his take on the arts after many years as one of the A-list people in the arts. And it means that for any answer that anybody gives you, there's a million exceptions. But that being said, I would say that if they're not expecting something from you, then you don't want to send them an attachment because they think you're sending them malware, you know. So I would say, like, if there's a place that's open to queries, just say, hey, here's my idea, would you like to see the pitch deck? And then if they want to see it, then you'll send it and they'll be expecting it. And again, you know, same thing as the previous thing. There's a lot of times you're not doing cold call. You can do queries, but most of the jobs I got was because I knew people. But the first job I ever got did result from a cold query. So usually when you're emailing, it's like somebody you know well, or hey, I met you at the WIFNI conference, and remember I was telling you about my idea? Would you like to see more of that? It's like, oh, so you have a little bit of an in before you're emailing the person, ideally. Because cold queries, yeah, that's a much steeper hill to climb. They sometimes work, but usually you want to start with a relationship.
Thank you.
Anything? Oh, I see the one, and then yep.
So I know it's definitely different, depending what you're trying to.
I'm gonna come down here. I don't like. Okay. What? No. Yep.
Oh, okay.
It's definitely different depending what you're trying to produce, I understand, but so like I know for a talk show you might not have to worry about it as much, but if it was like a film or a series, do you think there should be certain protections set in place for your stories and ideas prior to pitching?
Yes. Before I send anything out, I always register it with the Writers Guild. And you don't have to be a member of the Writers Guild. If you just go to WGA.org, there's a specific URL that takes you right to the registry, but you can get to the Writers Guild registry if you go to WGA.org, there's a link on there somewhere. You upload your project, either a full script or an outline or a pitch or whatever, pay $20 for 5 years. There's a timestamp on it. This actually helped me once because I was hired to rewrite somebody's script. I rewrote it, like a page 1 rewrite, completely revamped it for them, registered it, and they were going to pay me if they sold it, which they did. And then I said, oh, okay, great, you sold the project. And they're like, who are you? And I'm like, I'm the guy who wrote the script for you. And the guy actually took the script, the draft that I had handed him, whited out my name basically, and just put his name. He didn't change no other thing about the script. And so I said, that's funny that you don't know me, considering the script you just sold, I registered like word for word like a year ago, so then we settled. So it is, usually they're not trying to steal your work because I mean, that's the reason most places you can't go in unless you're vouched for by a manager, because they don't want to have you go pitch something. You go in and it's like, my idea, it's an amusement park full of dinosaurs and it goes awry, right? And then, you know, the new Jurassic Park movie comes out and then they've got somebody going, you stole my idea! You know, so they want somebody coming in who's not going to give them legal hassles anyway. Still, it's best to like protect your ideas just because you never know, you know. Yeah, and you can only protect, you can't protect a general idea, you can only, like I won my case because like the guy literally sold every line of dialogue I'd written, every beat. But you can't protect, you know, like, you know, 2 people fall in love, you know, because that's, it's already out there. Yep.
It's
oh.
me.
Oh, yep.
So my question to you is like when we go into the website to register our script, should we upload the screenplay or just the treatment?
It's whatever, I would say like the most fleshed out version of whatever you have, because the more detailed it is, the more, you know, the more you could prove the intellectual property. Like if you just have a 1-sentence log line, you know, you don't have a lot to protect. But if you have a fully fleshed out thing, then if there's a dispute later, I forget the exact formula for it, but they go through and it's like these, like, between this project and your project, there's like 38 things that are exactly the same. That's when you're probably going to be have a better case. So I'd say upload the best version, you know, the most fleshed out thing. But I also like will do a draft of something, and then if I do the next draft, I'll upload that too. If there's like been some substantial changes. So yeah, I mean it's only $20 a hit, so it's worth it just for peace of mind. But remember to re-up it every 5 years, because like, you know, I have stuff we're trying to sell since the 90s, and I keep going, hey, I'm going to try that one again. So I re-register, send it out again. Sometimes it finally finds a home.
So the other question is like, since we know AI is moving forward, so
I mean,
should we be afraid of AI as a screenwriter or not?
Should you use AI?
Be afraid of.
Well, they're already. AI's already stealing writers' work. I mean, I have a friend who wrote a novel. I mean, it's stealing everybody's work. It's stealing everybody's performances. So some kid can go, hey, look what I made. It's that thing you made, but now I say I made it. So, yeah, AI, yeah, it's not good. I mean, maybe, I'm sure there's a counterpoint, but stealing everybody's work and then so corporations can sell it to other people without paying you, I don't see how that's a good thing, but you know, somebody could probably prove me wrong. I'll go you and then you. Yep. Oh, Sam.
So I've heard 2 different answers to this question. Is it good to include like the idea of what actor you'd like to be playing that role, or is it better to just describe the character?
I think it's better to describe the character, because like who you're pitching, they may, like, let's say, you know, you're like, oh, this is a Tom Cruise type, and maybe that person has a bad relationship with Tom Cruise or whatever. Yeah. So yeah, you pitch to Nicole Kidman's company, that's not going to do you any favors. So yeah, no, just say the character, and then let the producer think, oh, this would be a great vehicle for Lindsay Lohan.
Hi, my name is Deborah. I'm a producer, and I spent 10 years in LA in development. So I know things have changed. I was a creative executive. I don't think they do that anymore, but there are still formulas and reasons why you're pitching to who you're pitching, and it's not always to get your film made or your TV project made. So I'm just offering myself up. If anybody has any questions, please find me, and I'm happy to have a discussion.
Absolutely,
and thank you. And I just wanted to say, amazing pitching. I was shaking and nervous for everybody, and I just wanted to congratulate everybody who went up there and pitched it.
Yes. Let's have a round of applause for the people who raised the game and pitched. And it is true, like sometimes you're trying to, you're pitching your project, but they're maybe just looking for somebody to write a Young Sheldon episode, and they're like, oh, okay, that's, yeah, you can write. So, okay, go write a Young Sheldon. That never happened to me, but, it's been known to happen to people. All right, any other questions? We just did the round of applause for everybody, so maybe that's, okay, one more, yep.
Question. If you had to guess, who did the shortest pitch?
Oh boy. I'm going to have to check the videotape for that. And maybe those results will be announced later. Sharon. Let's say Sharon. You can't go wrong saying Sharon. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming to the Wednesday conference. Thank you for pitching. Have a great rest of the evening.
All right, we're ready. Hey, let's not go anywhere. We have the director of the Mass Film Office coming up. Are we good? All right. All right, this next segment, and I want to thank everybody for doing their 1-minute pitches. That was crazy amazing. Would you like a chair? Okay. All right. You have to do your own PA stuff around here. So, I am very honored that Meg Jarrett is here from the Mass Film Office. This is a lot of great information for those of you who are filmmakers here to learn about all about the tax credits and other things that are going to be important to you if you're going to film in Massachusetts. So let me turn that over to you, Meg. Thank you so much. And she's coming off a jet lag, by the way. Okay.
Oh, just talk now. Okay, great. Hi, how are you? I'm Meg Jarrett. I've been with the Massachusetts Film Office, just entering my 3rd year. I came from 30 years of film production, mostly through PA, accounting, extras casting, through the office, from productions, APOC, POC, production supervisor, and then I produced a film in 2015. Then went back to film production work. So I feel like I can have a little insight to what it means calling the film office for the first time and seeing, or emailing or getting on our website to see what we offer. From Massachusetts, it's location, location, location. We have great locations. We have a lot of original intellectual property from novels that get created and made into films. So we have an advantage over many other states in that capacity. Also, we have a lot of talent from Massachusetts, from the college systems, and that we're producers, directors, writers, that were born in Massachusetts, raised in Massachusetts, bring their films back to Massachusetts. So there's a lot of good reasons to bring your projects here. We offer a stable 25% above and below the line production credit or transfer, or you can get up to 90 cents on the dollar rebate. So they're transferable, they're refundable, and we are, in competition with a lot of other incentive programs going on in states and in other countries right now, as we saw, post-COVID, post the industry strikes. We've had a great uptick in the industry, in work in Massachusetts, I would say in the last 9 or 10 months, and long time coming. You know, we were trickling in a project or two here and there. We do very well with independent films. Our tax incentive works very, very well with independent films. You will see much of your film, of the money you raised, up on the screen. Most recently, Sorry Baby filmed in Massachusetts. I think their budget was under $2 million, and it sold at Sundance for $8 million. We have a history of Coda, Manchester by the Sea, American Fiction, a lot of independent film that have come through and done very well. Even The Holdovers was considered until Miramax took over. So I have a one sheet, I have a postcard over there on that table that has a QR code that will link you to our one sheet of summary of the incentives. And I'm happy to answer any questions if I didn't cover it. It's hard to see, but I'm going to move forward and see if I can see people in the audience. Okay. Does anyone have a question?
Just a quick question. Me, I got one. I'm right here.
Okay.
So how there's like the tax credit or cut like work for filmmakers?
Yes.
How does that work exactly?
Pardon me?
How does the tax credit like you give for filmmakers?
Oh, sure. I'm so sorry. The process is you will write your film, get funding for your film, when you produce your film in Massachusetts, you complete your project, you, according to our step-by-step guide that's on our website as well, you will have an auditor, an outside audit your film, your books. Then you will submit on the Department of Revenue's website, and everything is now online. Before you used to have to actually, about a year and a half ago, they put the whole process online. And then you will be issued your credit, or if you go through a tax broker, they would sell the tax incentive for you. Some people finance against their tax credits with certain companies. You will find those companies listed on our website as well. So then you apply for the credit, and then they issue you either a certificate or a rebate, whatever you choose, how you're going to receive that credit back.
Can it be in money, cash?
Not in cash, no. You would get 90 cents on the dollar rebate after your tax obligations to the state are done, so payroll taxes, et cetera, et cetera. So if you go on our website, mafilm.org, you will find step-by-step procedures.
So is it working for like people trying to open like a studio?
Does it work? No, it's project by project, independent projects. Mm-hmm. Yes, hi.
I was wondering, is there a way that we can all campaign to help Massachusetts increase the amount of the tax incentives? Because New York, other states, they're higher than 25%.
Other states are higher than 25%, and even though there are productions that want to shoot in Massachusetts, they're finding it more competitive to go to other states and have them pose as Massachusetts, which kills me. That just actually happened to me this summer. I wrote a film set in Massachusetts, in Worcester, and they filmed it in Buffalo, New York, because it was 30%.
Very difficult. It's, every project is going to be unique. And in terms of lobbying the legislature for an uptick or additional, I think that I was around the time in production when it was going through. I think I think to answer your question, you would talk to MPC or another lobbying group. We are very competitive, even at 25%, because we have no cap, we have no limit. Even in terms of talent, they're above the line. There is no cap. So when the bottom number is done, I think what is happening is a lot of people are getting, when you're getting preliminary budgets and compare from filming in our state versus another state, Rhode Island, or even Rhode Island, or Connecticut, or New York, or New Jersey, I think you really have to work with a line producer who has worked in Massachusetts, because I think there's ways. I think if you just do it in general terms of you have so many days here filming X, XX, I think that that's a difficult comparison. So I think getting the right people to budget your productions and compare state to state, and even going and using a payroll service company to say, I think that you do more in the pre-production part and weigh, before to weigh out. I'm never going to say never. I think at this time, there's nothing looking forward to doing that, because I think it's, in other ways, it is still a very competitive, strong credit. Also, the weight, there are all these little other, I know you get more if you go upstate New York. I know, we just have such a history of films doing well here. The weight of having it filmed in Massachusetts comes into play. And I'm sorry that you wrote it for here and that you couldn't work away with, really establishing, if you wrote it specifically for an area, going to that area, talking to real estate agent, trying to cut, they can cut an extra percentage by relationships. And did you call the film office before?
Well, no, I'm not the line producer.
Right.
I'm just the screenwriter.
Right.
Well, I wrote it specifically for Worcester, Massachusetts.
Right.
It's a true story.
Yes,
And
yes.
it was filmed in Buffalo, New York.
Yes,
It wasn't
you
my
have no
decision.
say, that's right.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, to try to drive who takes on these projects, to call the film office, to reach out and to see what connections we can connect people with to get, to be able to film in those areas, yeah. Explaining the sliding scale of a project, even when it's gonna go to a municipality. Warner Brothers is paying one rate, an independent film is paying another. I'm constantly interpreting that. So, if a film wants to come and their budget is limited, then having those conversations with the municipalities, just as you would with the unions, if, and say, this is my budget, this is what I can afford. I think just having those conversations early on can help a lot, so.
Why do we have to keep voting as SAG people? Why do we have to keep voting to have the incentives come back? It seems like I'm voting constantly that we're, marching up Beacon Hill.
Oh, we're permanent now. We've been permanent. Yeah, so sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, now Massachusetts is permanent. That's another reason we're not opening, there's no sunset on our tax incentives anymore. So we're lucky to have that. Nothing to me. Anyone else? Yes.
You said that you need to complete your project and then have your books audited and then submit and then get a reimbursement. Is there any guarantee, like do you ever say if you follow the rules, we can say we will definitely give you this amount of tax credit, or is it you're just winging it, putting the money out and hope it comes back?
Oh, no, you'll get it back. Oh, no, you'll get it back. There's no application. There's no, we're not saying, other states do. You can submit so many per year. We have, that's what makes our incentive very attractive. There is no waiting period. It is separate than us. Submit to the Department of Revenue, and they will process your tax credit.
So is this though, if you're going through payroll, what about if you're 1099ing people or non-union? How does that work with tax credit?
That's a conversation with, for the payroll company, or for the Department of Revenue. If you call my office, I don't get into the weeds with that, but John Alzapidi in our office can answer those questions. If you mean loan out, 1099, yes. There's specific things that you should call the office, and he will give you the Department of Revenue, or check out our step-by-step guide, and that may have it in it. They have frequently asked questions. Sorry. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Okay, she is coming with you.
Sure.
Thank you so much. So let's assume that you're trying to make a feature film and you're looking for investors. Can you talk a little bit about how the tax credits could be an incentive to your investors? I know you mentioned earlier that they can be transferred.
We're one of the only states that is refundable and transferable. So that you can monetize those tax credits through one of those companies that are listed on our website, or, you know, and that can help you monetize, just as if you were, yes, if you're in your pre-production stage and you want to, you're working with your line producer and you want to monetize those tax credits, you will work with what it has nothing to do with the state. That's the process you will choose, is to monetize those tax credits. But, you know, knowing that the Department of Revenue is going to pay it out. Versus you're going to apply in another state that only takes so many applications, or puts you in a queue for what year you'll be able to apply for those credits. You can use that policy that we have to help monetize those tax credits.
Could I ask?
So if the project overlaps from one year to the next, or if the project goes through to a certain point, and then, let's say, post-production is not completed, is it the film must be completed and audited before this can be done, or?
Not audited. You're from the clock starts when you apply for, with the Department of Revenue online, you're going to apply for a certificate, sales tax exemption certificate, so you don't pay sales tax. That's when the clock starts, and in Massachusetts currently, you must have production done in 12 months. If this is not, if you're doing your post here, that has to be included in the 12-month period too, but if it is not, call my office. I believe that it is, if your post is in state, it has to be all part of the same thing. But you don't have to do it within the calendar year. It's a rolling submission. You just have to have all the production done within the 12-month period. Does that answer your question? Yeah, okay, we can talk about it. If you're talking about a documentary, no, a feature film, okay. We'll talk offline about it, and I'll put it in. But you do not have to submit within that year. You have up to 7 years to submit. You just have to have the production done in that 12-month, currently, in that 12-month window.
So I remember at the beginning you talk about location. So what type of location we can get, like if we're filming something, and then we work with your office as well?
We have a library of locations, but we also have a great relationship with, we have well over 20 location managers and more assistant location managers in all genres of budgets in all levels. I believe, you know, we are reaching out to municipalities at this time, especially when we're slow, to see what properties are available. So we're almost doing a reverse location search. We're not waiting on typically we receive a script, we do a breakdown for you, you can send it to us. We'll do a location breakdown for you, and then put together a location package for you that you can use if you're even in the funding part. And of properties that match, you know, your script, that are in different areas of the state, what would match what's in the zone, what's out of the zone, you can start the relationship with that. We don't get involved in the negotiations of the locations, but there are a lot of qualified location managers and assistant location managers in the state that know a lot about about these various properties. In terms of the film office, we've reached out to like the DCAM, the Division of Capital Asset Management for Massachusetts, and they have supplied us with several properties that are available right now. We have 2 prisons open right now, Walpole and Concord. Concord will be turning into a mixed use, but right now the prisons are available. I mean, they haven't really talked about rates yet. It's a conversation to have. And then we have the Hurley Building in downtown Boston. We have access now to all managed and owned Massachusetts military properties that they will have access to. So if you go on our website, we have a huge library of locations. we can help facilitate you to put you in contact with them or help you find a location person to assist you.
Hi, are there any production costs that are not applied to the tax credit?
Yes, great question. So pretty much a rule of thumb is what you see on the screen is going to be covered. Things that aren't covered are shipping, so if you order Amazon, or props, the shipping part or costume or props, the shipping is not included, and travel is not included, meaning flying in and out of. Hotels are included, but flying back in and out of the state are not, and shipping is not. And again, on our website, there's a whole, if you hit the QR code, everything else. But a great rule of thumb to say is, anything you've done to make, to have it show up on the screen is there.
Yeah, what about insurance or legal costs?
Not included. Yes, where's that coming
I have
from?
another.
Oh, yeah, it's okay. Sorry, it's hard to see.
Also, is there a list of tax auditors that do handle the tax credit?
Yes, on our website, yes.
Thank you.
And they will have a greater understanding of what's included and not included as well.
Thank you.
So I Google, I see 50,000. Is it like true or not?
Oh, okay. So yes, the minimum spend is $50,000 of qualified spending is our minimum, which is also a reason why people do come. I'm sorry that I forgot that. Yes. So, and here's another thing. Like Universal just recently came and filmed on Nantucket for 3 weeks. Okay, an Ellen Hildebrand film. The only thing they qualified for, because it was just a partial of a bigger project that was filmed in LA, they only qualified for the payroll spend. So sometimes, and if you do post-production here, you'll qualify for the payroll spend of that post-production. And so, yes, but on a film, so if your budget is $80,000, and you want to apply for the tax incentive here, just make sure $50,000 of it is a qualified spending. So, just take away your shipping costs, take away your insurance and your legal fee, and make sure as long as you have $50,000 of qualified spending, you can apply for the incentive. That's why a good accountant, good auditor, it works well. And plan don't wait till the end. Make sure you use a really accountant who has worked with, for your production accountant, that has worked on films in Massachusetts and worked with the tax incentive. Because those spendings are accounted for early on in production. And you want to make sure you have a good base, and then it makes it much easier at the end of the production, and you're not grasping for things and receipts and everything else. So everything's in, as we say. Don't wait to fix it in post. Make it happen in pre. Get it prepared. And that's like the best thing I could say is, it's like painting a wall. You want to prep it and make sure it's all set to go before the paint is on. So get it, make sure all your ducks in a row before you start production.
Does all pre and post-production stuff get covered by that?
Pre-production would, you want to make sure you're being aware of that 12-month thing, but pre-production, getting payroll ready, getting an office put together, yes, qualified spend.
Hi, it's just a curiosity thing. Do you know how many local productions are taking advantage of the tax credit compared to not local?
Transparency reports are issued by the Department of Revenue, and that's how you can get their public record. You can go and see. They don't log in with us. We don't get receipt of anything that applies. I probably don't know, because we have such a strong creative economy in Massachusetts with production companies and commercial houses, so a lot of them do apply, and I don't even know. Yes, so we work with even if you did have a commercial, you should contact, we can help you in different ways, yeah. But I don't know that question. But this is a significant amount.
We have a question back here.
Hi, does the does the documentaries count as production?
Documentaries count in our incentive, yes. Gaming does not, but documentaries do, yes. You can compare, if you also go on Rap Book, Cast and Crew, Green Slate, and Entertainment Partners, now they have, you can put in 3 states and you can have comparisons done with what incentives people offer. So it's good to compare and contrast. Again, Massachusetts is very heavy on wonderful locations. We have great places and people, and our crews. Our crews, we had 4 deep crews working, plus 2 other ancillary partial crews working this from last March, April on, and the Walking Dead City is going to be wrapping up in December. We have a strong crew base. We have crews that have worked on every single type of budget. And sometimes you get someone who's very seasoned with someone who's even, newer, not as experienced. And they work hand in hand so well. I couldn't tell you, I'm so proud of our crews. And there was recently a great, I'm going to call it a project, where an on-set dresser and the guy who's my intern on The Departed did a project where they took one scene from every film made from 1922 to 2022, and they've recently just updated it to 2025, and it's called 100 Years in Massachusetts Filmmaking, and it was over 4.5 hours long. So from 1922, we've had Captains Courageous, we've had Little Women done many times. We have a history here. We have a long history here, and my job and my mantra is to bring people. Your next film is going to be in Massachusetts, and so we want to retain our students that are Emerson and BU and Harvard and Northeastern and Bridgewater State. We want to keep them working here. We want to create this creative economy that keeps going. We want people to be able to afford houses and rents and raise families here, and we want to be able, we know we're just going to keep working on the infrastructure to build it stronger and stronger so that it's a great place to come and work and live.
Okay, one more question?
It's not really a question. For anyone who has any questions about local crew in Massachusetts, my name is Cynthia Salazar. I'm the field representative for IATSC Local 481. We cover about 16 crafts here in the jurisdiction. So as Meg said, we have an incredible crew here. It's a big draw for productions to come here because our crews are so seasoned. They know what they're doing, and as we said earlier today, time is money, and so you want good crews who know what they're doing and then can execute it well and quickly.
Very good comments.
Excellent, thank you. Meg, you all set? Any other further questions?
No, I'm all set. Thank you so
Okay.
very much for having me here today.
Thank you, Meg Jarrett. Thank you for all your questions to the audience.
And it will link you on the office. Thanks.
All right, we have some stuff over there, yep, from the film office. Okay, we are down to our last segment, and then from here, you'll be filing into the networking atrium, but we are going to set up some chairs and these monitors. And what's going to be displayed on these monitors are a lot of spotlight video trailers that many of you have worked on. So we have about a 27-minute video. So I encourage you all after this. The food will be set up for about 5:30 today, but please, we've got our photographers here, our videographers here, the social media people are here. Go back out, get yourselves on the red carpet, get in front of the step and repeat, get photos, post them if you like, have a great time, meet the people that maybe you've heard somebody ask questions here and you're like, ooh, I should meet that person. That's the time to do it, okay? That's the networking hour. And then a lot of other people are going to be joining us at 5:30. And at about 6:45, I'm going to make an announcement for you all to file in to the Yorkie Theater for the main presentation, okay? And so now we have our Unstoppable Women. Where are they? Rachel, Caitlin, Karen, and our lovely moderator, Jackie. Welcome them to the stage. Now, we wanted to have our Unstoppable Women because these women are doing real film, real work here in the New England area. Yep, have a seat, anywhere you like. Yep. Okay, and they're just here to tell you how they've done it. How did they start? Where their project is right now. And you know, you are able to ask them questions, any kind of questions that you like, because they are a vault. Okay, so they're successful, unstoppable Whitney women. Here they are.
Awesome. Thank you all so much for being here. I'm just going to have the three of you each start. We'll start with Karen. Go down and talk about what you have out right now and what you're currently working on.
Okay, hi, I'm Karen Trachtenberg. I have 2 shorts, 3 AM, which has just completed its festival circuit, Pumpkin Pie, which is sort of 2/3 of its way through the festival circuit, and I just finished filming my 3rd short Sunday. I'm still in a little bit of jet lag. Yeah.
I'm Rachel Thomas Bedwood. Fenwick, which is a short, is just wrapped up its festival run, and Dissection Day, which is in the trailer, you can see the trailer here, that is just starting, and then we are actually filming this weekend for a new short called Sever.
Hi, I'm Caitlin McCarthy. I'm a screenwriter based in Worcester, Massachusetts. My first produced feature film called Little Audrey, which is about a Vatican-ordered investigation of purported miracles in Worcester concerning Little Audrey Santo. It's based on a true story. Was just filmed this summer, starring Aidan Quinn, Jennifer Esposito, and Emily Van Camp, and Josh Bowman. It will be coming out next year, and I was an inaugural Sundance Cultural Impact Fellow as well this year. So lots of things coming up in 2026.
Amazing. So just a few questions, and then we'll take questions from the audience. So how do you protect your creative voice in an industry that often pressures artists, especially women, to fit a mold? You can take a minute if you need to. And we don't have to go in order either.
So you're saying, how do you protect your voice?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I hire 90% women crew. Together, I have a co-producer, Julia Trueblood, and this is our 3rd project. And yes, so we hire mostly women because there's so many talented women, and Whitney has been a tremendous resource. Also, I'm fucking old, so I don't put up with a lot of bullshit. I'm sorry. I'm like reached a point where, you know, I'm doing my own work, and I'm pretty unstoppable in that way. I know what I want, and I'm not going to compromise that. That means that I do it on a smaller scale. I need to do it on my own terms. So I always say that I'm really grateful because I have decades of being an actor. I'm so grateful that I'm not a young actor in this current climate, because it feels like no matter what you do, you're going to have to take your clothes off, right? And even in writing stuff, like, it's driving me crazy. Like, every series that I love, it's like they have to have a sex scene, and I'm like, why? I mean, it should be there because it's, you know, it's important. So I guess you have to just stick with your integrity and how you want things done. Yeah, and just stick with that. Don't compromise.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I do think there also has to be a balance in an awareness that you're working with a lot of people. You're going to get a lot of opinions, but you need to have conviction of the story you want to tell, no matter what the genre is. And I think it's just a really security in yourself. And so if these, you know, you're getting all this input and feedback, and And you should listen on one hand, but you have to learn how to weed out the things that will change your voice. And that takes a little bit of time, I think, but I'm also, like Karen, really old, so I feel very confident in myself, and coming into kind of late in the field for filmmaking, I probably have a confidence that I wouldn't have early on, if I had started in my 20s.
I agree with everything that the two of you just said. For my day job, I'm an inner city public high school teacher, so for over 20 years, so good luck to anyone who's trying to push me around. But that being said, I've also become very skilled at navigating some difficult situations when someone's dysregulated, which will happen with certain producers or actors. I'm very good at calming things down. You have to remain the adult in the room, even when someone else is choosing not to be, even if they're the money. You still, maintain who you are, and that will always keep you, solid. That being said, the feature film that was produced this summer was a work for hire, and the person financing it had certain ideas, and we had discussions, and some of the ideas that he had I didn't necessarily agree with, but you look for the note behind the note, and you find a way where you try to make them think what you're proposing is actually their idea, and they're going to love it. You're going to have to sometimes take one for the team and let them get their way, but I will say I got to see the rough cut of the film, and I'm very pleased with it, and I do feel it's something I can stand behind, which is a total victory for my first produced feature film. That's not always the case with people, especially women. I'm very aware that there are very few produced female screenwriters, and it was a very heavily male-dominated situation, but I held my own, so I was very happy with it.
And you kind of touched on this, Caitlin, but can you each share a moment in this industry where you realized that you were unstoppable? Like a moment that could have broken you down, but you pushed through? And you don't have to go in order again, whoever wants to. Well,
I'm thinking of something, and I'm debating, do I share it or not, but I'm going to. Okay, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, right? So the person who was financing it, because of our discussions about the script, and that he realized that I was not going to be somebody who could be pushed around, so to speak, or controlled. I was unstoppable. He wasn't sure if he should have me on the set, but I went anyway. So what I did was the director was renting a house, and I wound up staying with him and the line producer, and I just planted myself there, and even if I was being ignored by this person, I just did not care. And I was there and I got along beautifully with the crew and the actors and everybody else, but if he has a problem, that is his problem, and he wasn't going to ruin my good time on my first produced movie. So just be unstoppable. Go be water. As Bruce Lee would say, don't be wood, be water. Go around these people. And, I do believe in karma. So, people, give someone enough time, they will reveal themselves to other people. So you can't control what people are going to say about you or what they're going to think about you. You know your truth, and as long as you're showing up and you're professional and you're doing the job, no one can deny that. So just stay true to that. Ignore the idiots.
So I feel like maybe every filmmaker feels like this, that something happens every time you're filming something that you have to get through, and then it makes you feel unstoppable, even writing scripts, But one more recent one was for Fenwick. We were actually loading up the U-Haul to go out to the set with a motorcycle, and there's an antique dentist chair that literally weighed like 600 pounds, and we get a call that our DP had a family emergency and couldn't do it, which is, like, anyone doing this knows the panic that would ensue after that, months of planning, but Jackie was the producer on this, and we did not panic, and we had a new DP within 30 minutes, but that was a new camera and new lenses. I was really disappointed we couldn't use the antique lenses we were so excited about. But so you had to just shift gears for an entire shoot at the very possible last minute. And we did it. And it was like, there was things that, got dropped, but then I had to fix those later. Like we ended up doing a shoot in the basement, which nobody knows that happened. Like you can't tell in the film. We were matching shots, and so anyway, that was a big one. We came out very strong on the other side.
So I'm going to quote Jane Fonda. No is a complete sentence. It's very hard as a woman to say no. We want to apologize, we want to explain, and I'm new to the filmmaking side, 3 years, but I've been producing for decades, and I remember when I first started producing, a friend of mine, a man, said, well, you realize when you're a producer, you just have to be an asshole. It's true, which is different than being the director. And that's what's hard about filmmaking when you're directing and producing. Because you're the asshole and the nice person. You're doing good cop and bad cop at the same time. So that's really tough. But I think that for me, it's really hard. Sometimes I just have to say no. Because I'm directing this.
Questions around my phone. I'm not trying to be weird, I promise. So for each of you, in this industry, is there a woman who sort of paved the way for you or was like a mentor to you? And in what ways now are you paying that forward?
Well, I actually had a little experience when the students ready, the teacher will appear. I was going through a teaching training program. I was a student at Brockton High School, and I was a mid-career professional moving into teaching so I could focus on my writing more. And the teacher I was supposed to observe did not show up that day, so I had to seek assistance from across the hall because, of course, the in-classroom phone was not working. The teacher who helped me, her cousin, it turned out, was an Oscar-nominated director. And I hadn't written a screenplay before, but she said, I'd written a novel that was unpublished. She said, oh, I should introduce you to my cousin. I said, yes, you should. And so her cousin is Oscar-nominated director Mattia Carell, and she's been an incredible mentor. She taught me how to write screenplays, and I have her to thank for everything. I wouldn't be sitting here if she hadn't taken an interest in me. And she's very much a believer that you always send the elevator down. Help bring people back up with you.
I like that.
So I think, I'm trying to think, in my film career, I don't think I've had a female mentor. I really do try to pay it forward, though. I really love, doing classes, reaching out to young people. I've done a lot of university classes. Going back to my, I just got asked to go back to my college to teach a class. And just being women in film, this is a great platform to help not just young women, like all women. And when we grew up, we come to WIFNI first, and we try to, make it as many women on set as possible. Not that there's anything wrong with men on set, we love them too. But we try to balance those scales.
My background is theater and the arts. I've had many different mentors, but in terms of a female mentor, it's actually Patsy Rodenberg, if anyone knows the theater. She's actually the foremost Shakespeare and voice coach in the world, and I had the privilege of studying with her and getting certified in her teaching methods, her working methods in 2019 and 22. And she's a woman who works on just how to use your voice. And so for me, that's what it's really, that you take that anywhere, is how to really speak up and use your voice.
Trying to decide a good one. Okay, this is a good one. It's going to make you think a little. So what stories by or about women do you believe the industry still isn't telling but needs to?
The story that I'd love to see made, it was a book called Vindication, and it was about Mary Wollstonecraft. And if you don't know who she is, she's the mother of Mary Shelley, who wrote Frankenstein. And I would just love to tell her story. So I know Hollywood is sitting on the rights to the book called Vindication, but if I ever am in a position where I could have them come my way, I'd love that.
I'm still thinking of it. Tough question.
It's funny because I just saw a video about her like 2 days ago because of the whole Frankenstein thing. And I thought, well, that'd be a great story. So
Also, the Victoria Woodhull, who was the first woman to ever run for president in the 1800s. I think they are making a movie about her finally, but if you don't know who she is, look her up. She was into free love and everything, 1800s.
I mean, I'm always working on films of women of a certain age. I feel that, you know, there is a tendency, at least in this culture, to sort of become invisible after a certain age. I don't know if anyone saw The Last Fuckable Day. Right? And also, you know, there's this, we were just talking about this, there's sort of a stereotype at a certain, you're supposed to look and act a certain age, and it's not realistic anymore, right? I was just, 70 is the new 50, right? Like, let's just break out of those stereotypes. So that's the kind of stories that, at least, that I want to see and champion.
Yeah, I think just in general, less stereotypical images of women in films is needed, just like across the blanket, like more interesting. Like there's so many interesting people, like the people you mentioned. There's so many interesting figures in history or current, you know, people that, you know, would make great stories. So more of that.
Yeah, we obviously need, you know, strong women in film, but they don't all have to be strong. They can be very messy, they can be the anti-hero, they can be anything. And I think that drives me crazy when, you know, a woman has to be strong, or she's like the supportive wife, the supportive girlfriend on the phone, you know, talking to her husband or a boyfriend doing great things. All the screenplays that I write always have a female lead. I make a point too of having a diverse cast, because what you write is what's going to wind up on the screen. So if you are a writer, it's all up to you what we're seeing.
So that leads me to like kind of my next thought is, do you think with women on film and writing that we just don't take them far enough? Like we don't really get super real with how real life is?
I think there are women writing these stories. The question is, are they getting greenlit? I think we're bumping up against some people, and it's not just male executives, it's women too. Sometimes you can be our own worst enemy, deciding to pass on a story. They may personally like it, but they're worried it's not going to sell, it's not going to get eyeballs. So that's the challenge, is to convince people that what you're telling is a very human story. It's just told through the eyes of a woman, and make that normal. That, you know, that boys can watch girls. We don't have to watch a boy coming of age. They can watch a girl coming of age just as easily as we can watch Stand By Me. You know, so that's what we need to make it clear, that it's not one or the other. Like everyone can enjoy these stories.
Yeah, excellent. So I'm going to go to questions before we do final thoughts from you guys. Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you for sharing what you have. My name is Aaliyah Miller. My question to you is, it's kind of teed off the last question. We're in this content overload space where algorithms have really shaped and are continuing to shape what people watch, whether it's streaming, television. Things are constantly shifting. Now there's AI to buck up against as well. How, of all that changing landscape, how are you staying grounded into what is a good story and keeping that at the forefront of storytelling? Because I feel like in the algorithm world, we're starting to lose that.
I'd like to answer that. So all of my short films I've actually taken from, my background is theater, and I actually am very experienced from the Greeks, Shakespeare, all the way up. So I think it's really important to understand where we came from, right? We didn't just like hatch from an egg in 2025, right? So there's really only 3 stories: power, love, revenge. And they've been told over and over again. I feel like you need to understand the archetypes. That's what the Greeks were working with. And the best episodics now actually are about, you know, archetypes. Look at Succession, you know, it's so you have to go back to our roots and then find another creative way. It's like in music, there's only a certain amount of notes, right? But there's unlimited music, but you have to know those notes and you have to know how to play them. I also believe in process. That's, again, I'm coming from the theater world. When I'm doing a film, I insist on being on location and rehearsing the actors and having a conversation and having it grow organically. And I know, you know, people are coming from the film world and they just don't know where I'm coming. You know, sometimes they're like, what is she doing? So I feel like we have to get back to person-to-person dialogue. There's too much, you know, online, and now, you know, people are getting their therapy right from AI. We have to talk person to person. And I think when that, at least for me, when that happens on set, when it happens in the writing, when it happens in rooms like this, that translates. It really does. Because AI is soulless.
And it's bad writing too. I've played with it just to see what's going on. And it's horrible. I mean, you know, and I teach for my day job, as I said, at high school, and I do teach a screenwriting elective, and I have students who attempt to write scripts for me using AI, and you can always spot it because it's redundant, terrible, and my students would never use the word whilst. You know, that's a like dead giveaway. That and the M-dash, total giveaway. But as you were saying about it's soulless, what's going to help you triumph in this day and age is your voice. You know, and I know some people call it your brand, but I know for myself, if I see a certain screenwriter or a certain writer-director is coming out with a new film, if I'm digging how they tell a story, I'm going to watch it. I will sit through it. And so that's what I think, as a screenwriter, I always try to bring to what I'm writing is my voice. Like, you will know you're watching a Caitlin McCarthy film because, you know, I might do something dramatic, but there's always going to be that Worcester sass in there. You know, it's going to be funny at times because that's how life is. It can be tragic with some comedy, like Shakespeare did that all the time. But I have a certain way of writing that is not like AI, not like anyone else. And I think that's why I was able to get with Sundance, and which all these people apply to these things. And somehow from the school teacher from Worcester who is not 29 years old, or actually I am every year, I'm 29, for many, many, many years, since 29. I'm able to weasel my way in because I've kept true to my voice. So don't be tempted by AI. It seems like it's easy, you can just plug in a prompt and spit something back, but it's not you. You are valuable. Like, please remember that and develop your voice, and that's what's gonna help you have a career.
Yeah, I just wanted to add on to that, because you talk about the algorithm, and like I actually have always made a point to avoid the algorithm. And my scripts that get the most attention are those that do that. And so it's, you know, I know that's tempting, like, oh, this is doing well right now. Like, this is the type of things people want to see. First of all, the production is so long that people will be done by the time that, you know, they'll be done with that topic or, you know, subject matter, whatever. So, like, yeah, I think you find your voice and you ignore the algorithms, and because they do, people really do want original material. So it's finding your original voice and going with it and trusting. You know, and it's a process too. You have to work at it, but you know, if you keep doing it, you'll make progress.
Thank you.